Yeah, welcome to Big Boof Bets. It's the Get the Money podcast. I am Nate Stevenson, and this week I am solo again, everybody. Tony has some family responsibilities, and Boof kind of the same thing. I was just talking to him earlier, and he was just meeting back up with his girl and her daughter. So thank God they're all safe from the Hurricane Ian down there, and prayers go out to everyone in Florida dealing with that. Yeah, happy to hear that him and his loved ones are doing well. But like I said, this week it's just me. So we'll try to get through everything, get that picks out to you, try to get them units and get that money. But before we do that, let's do a little recap of last week. Last week, a little bit better than week 2, but still had a couple tough breaks. We ended up 4, 6, and 1 push, putting our record for the year at 14, 16, and 1 at 46.67%. Not where we want to be, but still earlier in the year. And as me and Boof have been saying for years, lots of times after week 4, we feel we start to get a pretty good grasp of the league. So hoping to get on the uptake here, starting this week going forward. But to finish last week's recap, our losers were Pittsburgh, Cleveland under 38. Total finished at 46. As you heard us talking last week, because we recorded on Friday after that game. It should have ended at 40, honestly, but which still would have put us over. But the late game touchdown definitely blew up a lot of parlays for us, so that sucked. KC minus 6.5, that was a loser. Honestly, should have been a winner. They gifted the Colts a touchdown with a special teams gaff and then left 10 more points on the field via 2 missed field goals, a missed extra point, and then a screwed up fake field goal, probably because the other 2 field goals were missed. All because they had a backup kicker, so no Butker really hurt them. Oh, yeah, and also Kelsey dropped a touchdown pass. So very lucky cover for the Colts, and honestly, very lucky win for the Colts. KC should have easily won by double digits. So just a lesson that, unfortunately, anything can happen any given Sunday, and you can't take your opponent lightly, which I think it certainly seemed like KC did a little bit of that. Las Vegas minus 1.5, also a loser. 6 red zone trips and 2 drops by Waller, 2 would-be touchdown drops by Waller, at least 1 in the end zone, 1 close. Just horrible red zone production by the Raiders. They ended up losing by 2. Should have been a win for them. So again, tough break there again. Tampa Bay minus 1.5. Touchdown Tommy missing the 2-point conversion near the end of the game to send it in overtime. So coin flip game. Unfortunately, came out on the wrong end there. San Francisco minus 1. Which in what was an extremely ugly game, they ended up losing 11-10. So honestly, depending on when you got the line, San Francisco was getting points at one point. You'd have won or at least pushed. But we are a victim of when we record for you guys, and unfortunately, that ended up being a loser. And the last loser was our lone teaser of the week, as we continue to do horrible in teasers this year so far, was our Eagles-Chargers teaser. Eagles covered easily. Chargers straight up lost to the Jaguars. Injuries and injured players just playing a huge role there. So those were our 6 losers. Our 4 winners were Baltimore minus 2.5. They beat the Patriots easily. Lamar Jackson is just a force right now. Atlanta plus 1. They beat the Seahawks by 4, I believe. Green Bay, Tampa Bay under 42. That finished at 26. That was an easy cover there. San Francisco, Denver under 45. They finished with 21 total points in the game. Another easy cover there. And Houston pushed at plus 3, which honestly was disappointing because they had the ball at the end of the game to drive for the game-winning field goal and then just threw an interception and literally gave the ball to Justin Fields in field goal range, and he took 3 knees. They kicked the field goal, and he got credit for a game-winning drive. So lucky for him. Lucky for the Bears, unlucky for us. So we push there. Again, 4-6-1, 14-16-1 on the year. So with that, we look to have a much better week 4 and get back on the winning track. And actually, we already did that. I'm recording on a Friday night this time. As I already gave out on Twitter, Miami, Cincinnati. We gave out Cincy -3.5. They won by 12 on Thursday night. So we already got one in the bank for the week. So we like that. One money pick in. So we already started off 1-0. We like that a lot. And with that, we're going to move on to the Sunday morning game in London, which is Minnesota and New Orleans. New Orleans is getting 3 points. Total is 41.5. Not a whole lot to say about this game. I would lean under, just with the travel for both of these teams. You have injuries on both sides, more so on New Orleans. So they're going to have no Jameis Winston, no Michael Thomas. You still have Kamara recovering from his rib injury. As far as the Vikings side goes, Cook is going to play, but what concerns me a lot about them is they didn't leave until Friday, and you even had Kirk Cousins wondering about jet lag. So if you have a player or players openly questioning jet lag before the game, before they even leave, I don't think that's a good look. So I would lean under in this game. I would lean New Orleans plus the 3. I don't expect a lot of offense on either side. With one thing you can depend on with Dalton being in there for Winston is a more conservative game plan, I think, and them trying to play a ball control, safe game. Not that they don't try to do that some already, but I think even more so. So I think New Orleans is the better team as a whole, definitely the better defense. So I'll lean New Orleans plus the 3 and lean to the under there, 41.5. Moving on to the next game, we have Tennessee at Indianapolis. The Colts are laying 3.5 points. The total is 42.5. Last week, the Raiders should have won when they were playing the Titans, and when the Colts are playing the Chiefs, they should have lost. So you have two teams that honestly should have experienced opposite results last week. This week, these two teams normally play a pretty competitive game. Interestingly, the road team normally wins in this matchup for what it's worth. So if you want to go with that trend, take the 3.5 with Tennessee. I don't think either of these two teams are very good. I think Tennessee has the better quarterback play. Indianapolis has the best receiver in Pittman, but a concern is with how these two teams like to play, both kind of, ground and pound, ball control, play action. Tennessee's bad against the run. Indianapolis is good against the run. But at the same time, Jonathan Taylor's been playing with a bad toe. And that Indianapolis defense hasn't exactly been what you would expect this year either. So nothing that makes me lean enough to make a pick as far as an official pick. I'd lean Tennessee plus 3.5. And the total seems about right. That could go either way. So no pick there. We're going to move on to the next game. And that next game is the Chicago Bears at the New York Giants. The Giants are laying 2.5, and the total is 39.5. Love the under in this game. These teams have played the last 3 years, and the total has gone under 33.5 every time. I'd say this is probably the worst version offensively for both of these teams this year. So I love under 39.5. You potentially could have a little bit of weather from the remnants of Hurricane Ian as well up there. So a little bit of wind and rain also could help keep our total under. I like that. And then also, I just think the Giants are the better team. So I'll also lay the 2.5 points. I like what Dable's doing. I like how he's got those guys believing. I know the Giants have injuries at wide receiver, but they have one of the best offensive players on the field, if not the best offensive player on the field, in Saquon Barkley. I think they're going to find a way to get him into the end zone and to use him to continue to help insulate quarterback Daniel Jones and get the Giants a win. So we're going to lay the 2.5 with the Giants and take the under of 39.5 for our first two locks not of the week, but of the podcast. So we're going to lock them both in and get their money. Picks. All right, and our next game is the Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are getting 3 points. Total is 51. It's tough for me to step in front of the Buffalo train, but those defensive injuries are definitely something that matter a lot, even more so against a Ravens team that is 4-0 against the spread as a home dog over the past 4 seasons, and the only two of those they won straight up. The other 2 they lost by a point each. That Baltimore offense is humming with Lamar Jackson right now, and he's shown the ability to, at this point, adjust to any defense being thrown at him. He used to struggle with man. He used to struggle with the blitz. You can tell he's definitely worked on those things in the offseason. And right now, there is nothing that has been thrown at him yet to date this year that has been able to slow him down very much. And with Baltimore being able to run the ball and pass the ball, I think Buffalo's in trouble. They have injuries in the secondary, D-line, and also offensive line. And when you have wind and rain in the forecast as well potentially, again, another Northeast game, so something that the remnants of Hurricane Ian could also affect a little bit. Baltimore getting points at home here, I think, is something that I just cannot pass up. So we're going to take the points with the Ravens, +3, and lock it in and get that money. Pick. Our next game is going to be the Chargers and the Houston Texans. The Texans are getting 5.5. Total's 44.5. A lot of injuries for the Chargers here. Obviously, we know Herbert's playing hurt. Bosa is out. Their left tackle Slater is out. Their number 1 corner Jackson's banged up. Too many question marks for the Chargers here. I think they end up doing enough to get the win, but you're getting close to laying a touchdown against the Texans team that has been a little feisty so far this year. Yeah, just can't lay the points, and don't want to take them with Houston because they still aren't a very great football team. So I would expect the Chargers to come out with what guys they do have healthy and put forth a good effort and get the win. So we're just going to strong lean to the Chargers for the win and nothing else here, and we're going to move on. And we're going to move on to that next game of the Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. Total's 47.5. The Seahawks were getting 6 at one point. It is not. They are now getting 3.5. That is due to Detroit missing 2 very important offensive players. Swift is going to be out. Amon-Ra is also going to be out. That really hurts that Detroit offense. I mean, those are their 2 best playmakers. Before that, I was leaning laying the points with Detroit. I don't know if I would have actually laid it, but that matters a lot for them. I also was leaning over. So those 2 players going out, that total has dropped down to 47.5. It was higher there. And considering that, I just think those 2 key offensive losses for the Lions have actually made me completely flip. Seattle getting over a field goal with Geno sort of being cut loose some last week against the Falcons. I think Seattle +3.5 is just something I can't pass up. They have their players healthy on offense. They have they're kind of working in a 2-headed monster, a tailback there with Penny and Walker III. Seahawks +3.5. I want some of that. And we're going to lock that pick in and get that money. Pick. Our next game is the Jets and the Steelers. Steelers are laying 3, totals 41.5. Zach Wilson, the Cougar Hunter, will be back, but he's trash, honestly. I've made no secret about the fact that I don't think he's a very good quarterback. Now you're going to have him coming back in cold off of injury in Pittsburgh. I know the Steelers don't have Watt, but he's still going to be facing a very tough defense with 2 backup offensive tackles. This is just a recipe for disaster for the Jets. As bad as the Pittsburgh offense has been, I really don't want to lay 3 points, but I think this is one of those deals where even if the offense struggles, Zach Wilson could score for the Steelers. So we're going to lay the 3 with the Steelers. Trust me, I'm not being a homer here. We're going to lay the 3 with the Steelers, and then also with the lack of offense I expect from the Jets and the bad offense the Steelers have shown, under 41.5, I think is also a good play. So we're going to lock both of those in for another double lock, and we're going to get that money. Picks. Our next game is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles. Total is 45.5. The Eagles are laying 6.5. So I'm going to go a little contrarian here. I know these are two teams that everyone is. Let's just say if they haven't jumped on the bandwagon, they are very close. For those who haven't, Jacksonville has definitely shown to be an improved team this year under Peterson. I like what they're doing. Honestly, I think they're showing themselves to potentially be a very strong contender for their division. The Eagles, however, have looked like the best team in football. There's just no bones about it. Hurts has looked awesome. Offense has looked awesome. Defense has looked great. And one interesting trend with them is that they've scored 24 points in the first half of each of their first 3 games. And then the second half, they've kind of just rode the lead out to victory. So if you're into those types of things, an interesting way to play this game is first half over for the Eagles and then second half under for the Eagles. But the way I'm going to play it officially is I'm going to lay it the 6.5 of the Eagles. They just pretty much blown everybody off the field the first 3 weeks. I don't know if they're going to do that against the Jaguars, but can they win by a touchdown? Yeah, I think so. I think Jacksonville's going to this is a step up in competition. I know they played the Chargers last week, but, they were playing an injured Herbert. And then the Chargers had how many injuries happened during the game. So I expect the Jaguars to put up more of a fight than Philly has experienced thus far, but I just think it's too much. Plus, a lot of the market's on the Jaguars, and I just think they're wrong. We're going to lay the points with Philly, and we're going to lock it in and get that money. Pick. Fly, Eagles, fly. Okay, next game. We are going to go the Cleveland Brownies at the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are getting 1.5. Total is 47. A lot of injuries for the Brownies this week. They are going to be without, most likely, Clowney, Myles Garrett, JOK, and Ward. So you're missing your 2 starting defensive ends, your best linebacker, and your best corner. Not looking good for that Browns D. Then you have the Falcons D, who's bad against the run, which is what the Browns like to do more than anything else. And then an interesting statistic is Mariota and Brissett are two of the better quarterbacks in the league this year thus far, ranked 7th and 8th out of the all the starting quarterbacks in the league this year thus far. So right now, I know it's early in the season, you have 2 top 10 quarterbacks in the league going against this year, which I highly doubt anyone would have thought would have been happening when you had the Browns and the Falcons playing each other. But Brissett and Mariota have been playing fairly well. So what I'm getting at with all of this, with a low total of 47, considering how bad these defenses has been, I think that the right play here is to go over. We have 47. I mean, we can get that with a multitude of different. We can get that in a multitude of different ways. So I like over 47 here. I also like how good the Falcons have shown to be offensively this year thus far, combined with those Browns injuries. I don't think either team runs away with this. So we're going to dip our toes into the teaser water again, hopefully get back onto the right track. And we are going to tease the Atlanta Falcons up from 1.5 to 7.5. And we are going to pair them with the Arizona Cardinals, bringing the Cardinals from 1 up to 7. So that's how we're going to play this game. And also we're going to take over 47. So we're going to lock both of those picks in and get that money. Picks. Our next game is the Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys. Total's 41.5. Just a lean here to Washington. I don't think Dallas can keep doing this with Cooper Rush, even though he has played pretty good in relief the past 2 games. The Commanders, I want to call them a bunch of things. The Commanders have a lot of talent on offense. It just depends if you're going to get good Kirk Wentz. Kirk Wentz, jeez Louise. If you're going to get good Carson Wentz or bad Carson Wentz, whether it be throwing interceptions, taking a bunch of sacks, whatever. So definitely a concern with how many sacks he's taken already this year against that Cowboys pass rush, and Micah Parsons just wreaking havoc. My lean would be to take the points with the Commanders here, but don't feel comfortable either side, so we're just going to pass this game and move on. And we're going to move on to the Arizona Cardinals getting a point at the Carolina Panthers. Total is 43.5. So some interesting trends for this game. Panthers quarterback, Baker Mayfield, is 11-22 against the spread as a favorite, which the Carolina Panthers barely are. His coach as well, Matt Rule, is 3-10 against the spread as a favorite, losing his last 7 in a row. And then you have Cliff Kingsbury, on the other hand, who is 14-3-2 against the spread as a road underdog, which the Cardinals barely are. So 2 trends that kind of line up there that I do like, which I don't normally read into trends too much, but there's a lot of strong correlation there. Plus, you have McCaffrey, his status up in the air. He's trending towards being out. If that happens, that only helps the Cardinals. And then just basically how the Cardinals play. They blitz a lot. Baker is bad, very bad against pressure, actually. And the Cardinals blitz the 5th most in the league. That matters a lot. It doesn't help that Baker hasn't been that good when he's had a clean pocket. He's actually been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in a clean pocket. So you have a quarterback who's bad when he's a favorite, bad when he faces the blitz, and he's been bad when he's had a nice clean pocket to throw from. All those point towards the Cardinals here. I almost picked them, but we're just going to be safe. And we're going to try to change this teaser like we've had. And as I said before, we already teased them with the Atlanta Falcons. We teased the Falcons up to 7.5, the Cardinals up to 7, and that's what we're going to go with for this game. Is that teaser, and that's it. And we're going to lock that teaser pick in again and get that money. Our next game is the Denver Broncos plus 2.5 at the Las Vegas Raiders. Totals 45.5. Not a whole lot to say about this game. 2 teams have been underperforming. I think the Broncos are the better team, even if it's only slightly. And we're getting 2.5 points. I expect Russ to start to pick it up some. The total, I think, is right where it needs to be. So we're going to tease the Broncos up. Because if they do lose, I don't see them losing by more than a touchdown. So we're going to tease the Broncos up to 8.5, and we're going to pair them with the Kansas City Chiefs getting a point. And we're going to tease the Chiefs up to 7. Because Patrick Mahomes, very good numbers after a loss. Tom Brady also. Honestly, you can get numbers on either side of that Tampa Bay KC game, either one of them getting a point. So you can really tease either one up to 7. Both those quarterbacks, very strong numbers after a loss. But we're going to go with the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes, tease them up to 7, with the Broncos up to 8.5 for our second teaser of the week. And we're going to lock it in and get that money. Pick. A few more games here left. We got the New England Patriots at the Green Bay Packers. Packers are laying 9 points. Total is 40. Looking like Hoyer is going to be starting for the Patriots. That is not a good thing. He has not won a game as a starter since 2016. And that was and then that year he started 5 games for the Bears. The only one he did win was a 17-14 victory, so not exactly a lot of points. So like I said, it's been 6 years since he's won a start. Do not see the Patriots winning here. Tempted to lay the points with Green Bay, but not exactly shown to. The Packers haven't exactly shown to be explosive offensive unit losing Devontae Adams and still kind of figuring that out. So as much as I'm tempted to lay with Green Bay, I think the smart way to do it is just throw their money line in some parlays. And also, we're gonna do one more teaser. I know I said we've been with the teasers this year. Hopefully, this is the turnaround week. We're gonna do one more teaser, a little unorthodox. We're gonna tease Green Bay down from -9 to -3, and we're gonna pair them with the Los Angeles Rams getting 2.5, and we're gonna take them up to 8.5. That's our third and final teaser of the week. We're gonna lock it in and get that money. And our next game is the Kansas City Chiefs getting a point at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Totals 45.5. As you heard me just say, there are books out there that have either team as a favorite. It just really depends on what you want. I like the Chiefs more as a favorite with the still Tampa Bay. You don't know who all is going to be back for them offensively with all the injuries that they've had. So I'd much rather take the point with the Chiefs and tease them up as I said already did, to +7, and we paired that with the Broncos 8.5, and we're going to leave that one there and keep that teaser locked in and get that money pick. And our last game of the week 4 slate is the Monday Nighter. We got the Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. The Rams are getting 2.5, and the total is 42.5. Now, historically, Shanahan has had McVay's number. Obviously, that finally changed in the playoffs last year. But what I've seen from that 49ers offense last week against the Broncos was not very encouraging. And then on top of that, they lost their star offensive tackle, Trent Williams. Jimmy G is still getting practices under his belt after basically not practicing with the team all during training camp or even having a playbook. So at this point, I still think they're still expanding the offense back around him. Kittle still not completely healthy. And you have the Rams, who are pretty healthy, especially compared to the 49ers. They're getting 2.5 on the road. I think they take advantage here. I actually like the Rams to win. But getting the points on the road, we're just going to be safe. And as I said, we put him in that teaser with the Packers, teasing the Rams up to 8.5, the Packers down to -3. And we're going to keep that teaser locked in and get that money pick. All right, just to recap our money picks for week 4. We already got Cincinnati -3.5. We already got that in and got that money. Oh, yeah. Our next pick is the Giants -2.5, and we're also taking the under of 39.5 in that game as well. Baltimore +3, Seattle +3.5, Steelers -3, and also the under 41.5. Eagles -6.5, Cleveland, Atlanta over 47, and 3 teasers. Atlanta +7.5. I almost said -7.5. Atlanta +7.5 and Arizona +7. Denver +8.5 and KC +7. Green Bay -3 and the Rams +8.5. So hopefully we get back on the winning track this week, and let's go undefeated. I mean, let's do it. We're due to have a week here, and that's all this week's money picks. And last but not least, it is everybody's favorite segment. At least I know it's my favorite segment. It's time for some parlays for the people. And this week's parlays for the people is 3 tiers. We're going to, as always, we start up with the Lotto. And we're going to go with the New Orleans Saints bought up to 4.5. And we're going to take the 4.5 points with the Saints. And then we're going to go Tennessee +3.5. Giants money line and under 45.5. Baltimore +4.5. Chargers money line and under 52.5. Seattle +11.5 and under 42.5. Steelers money line and under 47.5. Philly money line. Atlanta +4.5 and over 42.5. The Washington Commanders plus 8.5 and over 36.5. Arizona plus 4.5. Denver plus 4.5. Green Bay money line. KC plus 8.5 and under 52.5. And the Rams money line for 22 legs and plus 467,331 on your odds, which means a $10 bet will win you 46 grand, 46 win you $46,733.12, or a $100 bet if you really want to get frisky is $467,331.23. And moving on, we're going to make some adjustments, and we're going to keep New Orleans at 4.5. Then we're going to go Tennessee plus 8.5. We're going to get rid of the Giants money line and buy more points up to 49.5. Take the under there, and the Giants Bears. Buy Baltimore up to 8.5. Then we're going to go Chargers money line and under 56.5, buying some more points. Just going to go over 42.5 in the Seattle Detroit game. Under 47.5 in the Steelers and Jets game. Philly money line still. Then we're going to add some more points onto Atlanta, plus 8.5 and under. Keep saying under. Over 42.5. And then we're going to get rid of the Washington stuff from the Washington-Dallas game. And then we are going to do Arizona plus 8.5, Denver plus 8.5, Green Bay money line, KC plus 8.5 and under 56.5, and the Rams plus 4.5. So the second tier, 18 legs plus 13,572, which means a $10 bet will win you $1,357.29. And lastly, our get it out of jail free parlay for Week 4 is the Los Angeles Chargers and Houston Texans under 56.5. Jets and Steelers under 47.5. Philly money line. Cleveland, Atlanta over 42.5. Green Bay money line. The Chiefs plus 8.5 and under 56.5. And the Rams plus 8.5. That is 8 legs for plus 643 on your odds, which means a $100 bet will win you $643. That is this week's Get Out of Jail Free Parlay. I like it a lot. I think we got a pretty good chance this week to get our first one of the year, and hopefully we get a lot of cashes all the way around. So with that, thanks for joining me this week, everybody. Hope you get them units, get that money, and as always, I hope your beats are never bad. This is Nate Stevenson, wishing you all a prosperous week 4, and let's get that money.